The boardroom felt suffocating as I sat there, watching James pace in front of the projection screen. His expensive suit and perfectly coiffed hair screamed success, while his smirk spoke volumes about how he viewed me, the grieving widow who needed to be managed. "The numbers don't lie," he said, clicking to the next slide. "Since David's passing 6 months ago, our stock has dropped 15%. The market is losing confidence in Quantum Tech's leadership. My name is Rachel Chen, and 6 months ago, I lost my husband to a car accident. Today, I was about to lose his company too, or so my brother-in-law thought. Our shareholders are nervous," James continued, his voice dripping with fake concern. "They're worried about having well, let's be honest here, a housewife controlling 51% of a major tech company." The other board members shifted uncomfortably. They'd known me for years as David's wife, the woman who hosted company parties and attended charity events on his arm. The woman who, as far as they knew, had no technical background, no business experience, no qualifications beyond being married to their brilliant CEO. If only they knew. "Rachel," James turned to me, his expression a masterpiece of condescending concern. "You know David would want what's best for the company. My proposal is more than generous. We'll buy your shares at a premium. You can keep the house, the cars, maintain your lifestyle. But let those of us who understand this industry take control." I looked down at the proposal in front of me, fighting to keep my expression neutral. The generous offer would indeed keep me wealthy, but it would give James complete control of Quantum Tech, the company David and I had built from nothing. "And if I refuse?" I asked quietly. James's smile tightened. "Then I'll be forced to call for a vote of no confidence. The board already supports me. They know you're not qualified to make decisions about quantum computing and AI development." "I see." I closed the folder containing his proposal. "And what about Project Phoenix?" The room went silent. Project Phoenix was Quantum Tech's most closely guarded secret, a revolutionary quantum encryption system that could change the face of cybersecurity. As far as the world knew, it was David's final project, still in development. James' confidence faltered for a moment. "Project Phoenix is proceeding according to schedule." "Really?" I raised an eyebrow. "So you understand the modifications I made to the quantum entanglement algorithm last week? The ones that increased efficiency by 40%? His face went blank. Around the table, board members started whispering to each other. "What modifications?" James demanded. "David's original design was flawed," I cut in. "It couldn't scale beyond local networks. The new architecture I implemented allows for global deployment while maintaining quantum coherence." The whispers grew louder. James's face reddened. "You expect us to believe you understand quantum computing? You've never even worked in tech." I smiled, thinking about the past 5 years, about the late nights working alongside David, developing algorithms, solving problems that had stumped the industry's best minds, about our decision to keep my involvement secret, knowing how the tech world would react to a female Asian developer, especially one married to the CEO. "Actually," I said, standing up and walking to the computer connected to the projector, "I've been working in tech for longer than you have, James. I just did it under a different name." I typed quickly, logging into a secure server. The screen filled with code, the core architecture of Project Phoenix. "Do you recognize this coding style?" I asked the board members. "It's remarkably similar to the work of R.C. Wang, isn't it?" The effect was immediate. Everyone in tech knew R.C. Wang, the mysterious developer whose innovations had driven Quantum Tech's success for the past 5 years. The genius who never appeared in public, never gave interviews, communicating only through code commits and technical documentation. "That's impossible," James sputtered. "R.C. Wang is." "Me," I said simply. "Rachel Chen Wang. David and I decided early on that my work would be judged more fairly if people didn't know I was his wife. So we created a persona, the reclusive genius who just happened to collaborate brilliantly with Quantum Tech's CEO." I pulled up more files, years of development logs, emails between David and me discussing technical details, video recordings of us working late in our home office. "David wasn't just my husband," I continued, my voice soft but firm. "He was my partner in every sense. We built this company together. The only difference is he did it publicly while I worked in the shadows. The board members were staring at their tablets, where I just sent copies of all the documentation. James looked like he'd been hit by a truck. "This is a trick," he said weakly. "Some sort of deception. Would you like me to explain exactly how the quantum entanglement modifications work?" I offered. "Or maybe you prefer to discuss the neural network architecture I designed for our AI division, the one you've been taking credit for managing these past 6 months." The next hour in the boardroom was unlike anything anyone present had ever experienced. I walked them through Project Phoenix of architecture, explaining complex quantum computing concepts with the ease of someone who had spent years immersed in the field. With each explanation, each technical detail I elaborated on, James's face grew paler. "But the patents," he finally interrupted, grasping at straws. "They're all in David's name." I pulled up another file. "Actually, they're jointly held. David insisted on it, though I wanted to keep using the R.C. Wong persona." I smiled slightly at the memory. He said someday the world would need to know the truth. Marcus Chen, our head of development and no relation despite the shared surname, leaned forward. "The Quantum Bridge Protocol, that was you. The one that solved our coherence issues." I nodded. "David was brilliant with hardware, but software was always my strength. We complemented each other perfectly. That's why he never fully explained how certain systems worked," Marcus said, realization dawning on his face. "He always deflected to R.C. Wong's documentation." "Because I wrote it," I confirmed. "David and I had an agreement. He handled the public face of the company, the meetings, the presentations. I focused on development, on solving the technical problems that kept us ahead of the competition." James had remained unusually quiet, his eyes darting between me and his tablet. I could almost see the wheels turning in his head, trying to find a way to discredit me. "Even if this is true," he finally said, "running a tech company requires more than just technical knowledge. It needs business acumen, leadership skills." "You mean like the skills I used to negotiate our Series C funding?" I interrupted. "The deal I closed with Vector Capital while using the R.C. Wong persona." More murmurs around the table. The Vector Capital deal had been legendary. A $300 million investment on incredibly favorable terms, negotiated entirely through encrypted communications with the mysterious R.C. Wong. "That's right," I continued. "I handled most of our major deals. The investors actually preferred dealing with R.C. Wong. They said they'd never met someone who understood both the technical and business sides so completely." I clicked to a new slide showing our company's growth over the past 5 years. Every major innovation, every significant breakthrough, they all came after R.C. Wong joined the company, after I started working with David. "This is absurd," James snapped, finally losing his composure. "You expect us to believe that all this time, while you were playing the perfect corporate wife, hosting dinner parties and charity events, you were secretly some kind of tech genius." "No," I said calmly. "I expect you to look at the evidence in front of you and make a rational decision about what's best for this company." I turned to address the entire board. "I understand your concerns about leadership, but ask yourselves this: who really knows quantum text technology? Who understands where we're going and how to get there? The person who created our core technologies or the person who's been trying to take credit for them?" The board members exchanged glances. Patricia Morrison, our longest-serving member, cleared her throat. "Mrs. Chen, Rachel, why reveal this now? Why not continue as R.C. Wong?" I thought about David, about our late-night conversations about the future, because David was right. The world needs to know that innovation doesn't look like what they expect. That breakthrough ideas can come from anyone, regardless of their gender, their background, or whether they fit the tech industry's preconceptions. I pulled up one final document, the last email David had sent me just hours before the accident. "My brilliant Rachel, if anything ever happens to me, don't let them push you into the shadows. Show them who you really are. Show them what we built together. All my love, David." "I've spent 5 years hiding who I am," I said quietly. "I won't do it anymore. This company needs leadership that understands both its technology and its potential. I am that leader, whether you choose to accept it or not." James stood up abruptly. "This is all very theatrical, but it doesn't change the fact that I have the board's support." I moved to call for an immediate vote on my proposal to purchase Rachel's shares. I smiled. "Actually, James, I don't think you do have the board's support. Not anymore."